Good morning, everyone, and welcome to On the Wrong Lead presents Saratoga Daily. I am Mark, and right off the bat, I need to apologize a little bit. I did not do a live stream after the card on Saturday. Had a real rough day, wasn't feeling the best. Didn't put any content up, and a little apologetic for that. And was going to do something last evening. We had a bunch of storms coming through. We got almost 4 inches of rain, 3.5, 3 3/4, depending on where you were. Was worried about power outages and that sort of thing. We had a lot of them in the area, and so I'm putting this up a little bit late and putting it up today. But I want to talk through a little bit of last weekend first before I get onto the card today. First thing is in the personal ensign, we saw the Graveyard of Champions, known as Saratoga, get another one. Midnight Bizu lost. She lost to Vexatious. Lascano had a really nice ride on Vexatious, got first run coming down the stretch, floated Midnight Bizu a little wide, and Midnight Bizu just couldn't get there. Initially, in watching the race, my assumption was that Midnight Bizu was flat. She needed a race, something like that. Then the figures came back, and Vexatious just ran her, eyeballs out. Prior to that, her last win was in the summer of 2018. She'd gone 2 years without a win, and Vexatious just had a monster run. And I think this is interesting for a couple of things. First thing, next time out, you're going to get a better price on Midnight Bizu, as people are going to kind of wonder, is she lost a step, or is she a little over this whole racing thing? And also, it makes Vexatious another player in what is a really loaded division. I don't know what they found with this horse. Her last start prior to this was also really good. Maybe they just got her right, or I don't know. But she had, she's really brought it the last 2 races, and it perks up this older fillies division, which now all of a sudden is pretty darn loaded. And I'm excited to see them both run next. I think Vexatious for me is probably a fade until she's proven she can repeat at this level. And Midnight Bizu is a bet back that I'll get better odds on. So after that, we had, let me hop through other things I wanted to talk about. So in the Jerkins, I feel like an idiot for the pick I had on here. I was really, really high on No Parole. I thought No Parole was sort of the horse to beat, but I sort of let my insider Saratoga knowledge shoot me in the foot. At 7 furlongs, you don't tend to want to be on the front end. Track has played a little wonky this year. I thought maybe it was different, but quite honestly, Echo Town came from just off the pace with a beautiful trip by Santana. Echo Town is a horse that I, for some reason, just never have loved. It's a horse that he seems to, basically wins every other, shows up, runs his race. His figs are amazingly consistent. These types from Asmussen I've historically not liked because he has a tendency to burn a lot of them out, and a lot of them are very up and down type horses. And this horse just seems to kind of do everything right. Win was impressive. This division again, this sort of 7 furlong miler division for the 3-year-olds is really interesting. And I think Echo Town's a major player, and I probably was a little bit cocky and in getting so excited about No Parole, but I think Echo Town's going to be a force moving forward. And then we had the Bowling Green. I was a big cross-border fan going into this. Sadler's Joy got absolutely bet like a sure thing. Sadler's Joy went off at 4-5 or something stupid. Sadler's Joy crossed the line first, but was then DQ'd. And something I want to say about DQs, and I should say before I go there, cross-border was put up. And I will say something about DQs here. They did take a look at the personal ensign as well, because Vexatious did do a little bit of herding down the stretch, but they never touched, albeit you can make a pretty good argument that Bizu was a little intimidated. Naira and at Naira, they've never called herding. I don't think any track in the country will take horses down for herding. Until they start doing that, herding is a good tactic, and as a jockey, you should be herding because it gives your horse the best chance to win. Until Naira makes a stand against it, it is what it is. It's a tactic, and you can't hate it. The Sadler's Joy situation was different. Sadler's Joy bumped cross border, I think 5 times in the stretch, came in about 3 passing, consistently bumped cross border, and prevented cross border a good chance of passing. Contact has always been the differentiator in NYRA, along with most other jurisdictions. I know the Twitter sphere is all up in arms about, well, why was one a DQ and another wasn't? I think they need to clarify the rule. I think herding should be something that is taken down. If you move more than 1 path in the stretch or 2 paths, or draw a line, tell the jocks this is the new rule, and horses need to be taken down for herding. It's a separate high horse. I think the cross border being put up is consistent with how NYRA has looked at contact. It was contact in the stretch. It definitely did hurt cross border. Cross border did not have as much of a chance of finishing the race in could have potentially cost him a spot. So, yeah, going forward, this older marathon turf division still sucks. I don't want to bet cross border at any track that isn't Saratoga. The horse is 5 for 5 across the track, and I think must love Saratoga. These races will again be ones where I will try to find prices, and I'm gonna not eat chalk. And I think there's no standout horse in this division, so they will continue beating each other up, and Caleb will continue to hate on all of them. So in the feature, and of course I pulled the crest up, because the crest was not the stakes that I wanted. There we go. I had skipped over the Whitney because I wanted to hop back and talk about this. I think after watching this race, you can't draw a lot of conclusions. Let's put it that way. TDT, Tom Stata, absolutely fell all over himself coming out of the gate. They spotted the field about 5 or 6 lengths, and he ended up rallying to get third. I think he ran a really good race. He's the horse out of this that I want back. I don't think it hurts his chances going forward, and I think he's still super interesting in what is a pretty interesting older division now. Improbable won. My issue here with Improbable's win is the fact that Mr. Buff did what they said they were going to do. They went, and Mr. Buff stopped after about 6 furlongs. And absolutely, the tides parted, and Improbable had just an easy trip up the rail. Everything fell apart in front of him. He just had to finish. That's all he had to do, and he managed to, not get into a massive argument with the gate this time. So I can't fault him. I don't want him back at all. He's not consistent. He next time out very well may decide he wants to get in a big argument with the gate and go full head case again. Apparently, when they do school him in the morning, he's a perfect gentleman going into the gate. So he only has gate problems on race day. I'm wondering if having no fans in the stands really helped Improbable, as maybe the fans are what are getting him riled up, and being there without fans helps him be a little more settled. Would also explain his Gold Cup win. So maybe COVID helps him. He's a horse that I just still don't trust, and I think there are better horses out there. By my standards, finished second. No disgrace to him. He ran his eyeballs out. He ran right where I thought he would. I thought he'd be a player. He was. Code of Honor, massive disappointment. He had pace to run into. It just didn't finish, and he's a horse that I've never really loved. I think going away, I want a lot of Tom Stata. Next time he shows up, I don't know if he can get 10 furlongs. Man, I'd love to see him in the Classic, though, as his swan song. 7-year-olds aren't supposed to keep getting better, and he seems to every race. And I'll definitely chalk him up a mulligan for his bad start there. And I'll continue to fade him probably because I just don't like the horse. So today's card, we got about between 3.5 and 3 3/4 inches of rain. But the track seems to have dried pretty well. I saw some pictures. Track looks like it's going to be good by first post. So with that being said, everything is off the turf. And I like to target these sequences with these races that are turf races that come off. I don't think you have as much dumb money at Saratoga this year as you've historically had there. I think you're having more online bettors. They tend to be a little bit more savvy. We're seeing pools up, but I don't know if it's the normal drunk bros in the back stretch that are, in the back picnic area that are making lines. So I'm just going to still try to target this sequence, and I think I can get a little, cute here. I like this 2-3-4 sequence. I don't know why I always end up with these early sequences, but on a day like today, you're going to have the most water with everything coming off in the track early. So if there's any sort of bias play here, it's going to be more pronounced early. And Saratoga on off days, when a day or two after the rain, this track normally comes up very speed favoring. I don't necessarily love the rail on days like this. I think you normally want to be sort of in the 3-path. But in this second race, there was one horse that really sort of jumped out at me, and it's this horse, Nutty Prince. It broke its maiden at Keeneland at first asking, and if you look at it, it was for a maiden 20 here. The old rule of thumb was you like a horse breaking its maiden to come back at half the level. At half that level as a claim, that's normally where things get interesting. Now, we don't have claiming 10s in NYRA, but we do have claiming 16 non-winners at 2. So this is the lowest level that it can get a race at. Seems to be controlling pace in this race. I'll pull it up on optics for everybody here. Or I shouldn't say controlling pace. The one probably has more speed early, but is that horse that can sit sort of just off, can sit sort of just behind. Obviously, he's never gone this distance before, and I don't think the one can necessarily hold on. Tomlinson's figures are good enough that if it is a little bit on the wet side, horse should be able to finish. And Wes Ward or the Red Ortiz up, pretty good combo. So I'm going to probably single this 6 Naughty Prince in the first leg of a pick 3, and I'll show you why I'm doing that with the second leg. In the second leg, this is a 5.5 furlong turf sprint that has now been taken off and put in on the main. Morning Line had this one, Veterans Beach. One post is still winless at 5.5 on the main, and I want no part of that inside post. It's Rosario, it's Clement. The horse is going to take a lot of money. The horse has absolutely no dirt for him, ever. Maybe the horse likes dirt, may take to it. I'll play against it because I think that a lot of money is going to go there. The two horses that I like are, first off, 3's Joker, drawn just outside. Javier gets up here. Horse has done its best running on dirt. They tried turf last out, wasn't super successful, and I think this might not be a bad spot. Obviously, Terranova is terrible in turf sprints, so if this horse takes a ton of money, I don't even know if I really love that horse. The horse that I find really interesting in here is this 3, Inside Info. Saya's up for Linda Rice. If you look historically, Linda has been very savvy at doing this. She will look at the weather forecast and she will take a dirt horse and put it in a turf race. Obviously, Linda is also known as being somebody who will claim a dirt horse and put it on turf and have it win. So it's not an out-of-character move, but she's also pretty savvy about taking a horse that may be an underachieving dirt horse and finding a soft spot because of a potential that this comes off. It stays on, she runs the horse, maybe it likes turf. B, if it comes off, she may have the best horse. You're getting 15 to 1 on the morning line. You won't get that here. You may get 5 to 1. And I'm really, really super interested in this one. Obviously Sayas gets up. Linda's very good first off the claim. She doesn't have a lot of history with Sayas, but he was on this horse last out, so I think that's probably why Sayas stays here, or why Linda uses Sayas. So I don't have any problem with it here. Winning last out with Sayas up, obviously gets the horse at on the dirt, and the horse has shown quite a bit of early speed. Let me get here to the third. The horse here, the 3, has shown quite a bit, be forwardly placed with some early speed. On these wet, and also if you notice, the horse happens to be 1 for 1 on a wet track, and that track was listed as good. Broke its maiden across a good Belmont track. So obviously a little water here in the track isn't going to hurt this one, and I think I want to use just the 2 and the 3 in this leg because of it, and hopefully a lot of people and I think what happens a lot of times with these turf races, people handicap for turf, and then they last minute go, oh, it got taken off, and they see all the scratches. They either don't realize the race is off the turf, especially early on in the card, or people just don't differentiate turf handicapping versus dirt handicapping. They just see, oh, I'm going to pick the best horse, even if that best horse isn't on the right surface. You see this a lot of times with first-time turf horses, where horse has big speed figures but has no propensity for the turf, and it gets bet down crazy and then doesn't ever show up. Well, it was, a dirt horse on the turf. They were taking a shot. That horse got way over bet. And into the fourth. So I want to go 1 by 2 by This Is the Summer Colony. And I mentioned here that the Saratoga dirt, the next couple days after a big rainstorm, tends to be speed favoring. So I happen to like the speed horse in here, which is, I'll show everybody the optics here again. You see this big speed and big forward lead placed on the 4. Which is this 4. Obviously, there's a bunch of Pletcher horses in here, Bolera's in here, always shopping, but the one that I found really interesting was Nona Madeline. Going to be the forwardly placed horse. If speed is carrying, it should set this horse up really well. And if you're somebody that uses the time form pace figs here, look at, you have a 93, a 92, a 90, then you have Nona Maria's 112, and then you have a 94 of Bossy Bride. So effectively, the other 4 horses that are in this race almost have identical speed figs. Nona Madeline is going to inherit the lead. I think everybody tucks in behind and tries to make a run. I don't know if she's good enough to hold on going this distance, but because she's never tried it. But her pedigree here says that she should be able to get the distance, and she also has these massive Wet Tomlinson's figures, so if there's still a little water in the track, it should help her. It should play into her run style. She's never had the opportunity to try it, but I find it super interesting, and I also find it interesting that Arad ends up here. Arad and Todd Pletcher have been 41% on the Saratoga meet. Todd's hitting at 28%, so obviously he's using Arad on his most live mounts, and that combo, has been just extremely successful. So I think I want to point a pick 3, and I'm going to be 1 by 2 by, honestly, maybe just 1 here. And that's a $2 pick 3. I may use some Bs. I have a hard time really differentiating between Golden Award and Bolera. I think they're both similar horses, similar quality. So maybe I make Golden Award and Bolera at Bs, and I probably run 10 times as much money through Nona Madeline as I do through those Bs. The Bs are just in case Nona Madeline, in case the track isn't speed favoring. We haven't seen it, and I won't know until that first leg. So they effectively become Cs. So maybe it's like a $10 through the first 1 by 2 by 1, which it costs $20, and then I'm playing maybe a $2 play that's 1 by 2 by probably 3. I would probably use the 1, 2, and the 3. So it's a that's would be a $12 play. So I have a $20 all A's, a 1 by 2 by 3 that's a $6 play. And yeah, I like that little sequence. Hopefully I'm catching people when they are being... I also think when people come into a card, they don't know how the track's playing, they're going to want to spread a little more. I'm being pretty aggressive here. Hopefully I'm being aggressive into people who are spreading. I get a little more value there. And yeah, and hopefully it's a sequence that I can sort of exploit with a little bit of insider knowledge. So till next time, I will try to get up something this evening where we will talk about tomorrow's card. I didn't love this Wednesday card. I did love the Thursday card. I thought the Thursday card had a bunch of really, really strong angles and a lot of horses that I can feel a little more excited about getting behind. So till next time, hop on Discord, chat it up. I'll have some final plays once I see scratches, and good luck at the races.